Hey there guys, what's going on? So, happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody out there today. I hope you are keeping your drinking to an acceptable minimum as dedicated by your sponsor, priest, or otherwise. You're keeping your green wearing to fashionably acceptable minimums as seen by this green sweater here and not this strangely dark zombie shirt. And you're enjoying all manner of things Irish, or those supposedly Irish and not sorted out as myth and untruth and what St. Patrick really did and didn't do, and you get into all the things of that nature. But the reason I wanted to make a video here today is because while St. Patrick's Day really is unfortunately known for a lot of dumb, kind of buffoonish behavior, which really sort of slanders the Irish unnecessarily. You know, the excessive drinking, the whole, just people acting stupid kind of a thing. I like to focus on this particular day, as I always have. I like to wear a little green, which is, silly, fun sort of a thing. But I've also really always enjoyed learning about Irish history. Irish music as well, but I'll get to that in a moment. But back in the day, they don't seem to do it as much anymore. I used to like to watch the History Channel. You flip on the History Channel, there'd be something about, the great conflicts or plague or strife, certain things, or, famine, not plague, in Ireland, or people throughout history, and they do little programs and specials about that sort of thing. That's how I spent my teens into my 20s, the great history programs instead of the great alcohols of the world, which in hindsight I'm very much okay with. And as a result, I always really became fascinated with Ireland itself, its history. It's definitely up there on one of the top places I would love to travel to someday. I actually have a really amazing coffee table book. I don't know if it's anywhere around or I'd show it. I didn't think of it actually until the moment of recording this video with just a lot of the great scenery and farmland and ruins, beautiful shots, beautiful just stuff in general, and I always really was very enchanted by that. So, in my quest to sort of learn a little bit more about the history of Ireland, and in some of the things I wanted to talk about here for St. Patrick's Day, and some of the things I think, if you're really interested in Ireland itself, instead of just the stereotypical stuff, things that you should know, more or less. And in my quest to learn a little bit more, I picked up this book several years ago, and it just came to mind to me to show off in a video today as part of, my plan here on my channel to do expanded, video stuff, covering extensive topics. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this book by Malachi McCourt, called The History of Ireland. This book was older even when I had originally obtained it. I can't remember the publishing date. 2004 at the time, and I got this probably 2008, 2009. So it was old even then, but it came very highly praised. Covers a lot of history, different time periods of Ireland. I couldn't tell you everything about all the figures anymore because I read this years ago. But, Ireland before Patrick, the land of saints and scholars, Viking invasion, Norman invasion to Henry VIII, Tudor conquest, the Tudor conquest, fall of the Gaelic world, Ireland after the Great Hunger, Great Patriots, Century of Irish Voices, William Butler Yeats, James Joyce, Samuel Beckett, Jack Lynch, Conor Cruise O'Brien, Bobby Sands, Bernadette Devlin, John Hume, Gary Adams, Bertie Ahern, all the way up through history, through different time periods, all the way up to Bono, even of all people, whose history is a bit of a disingenuous and spotty one, but that's a bit of a different story. But I always really enjoyed this book and the different little sort of mini biographies that it presented of various notable people, freedom fighters, people of all different realms, shapes, and sizes throughout Ireland's history. Malachi McCourt, of course, is the brother of Frank McCourt, who wrote the very famous work Angela's Ashes. But I wanted to talk about it because I think, in these sort of things, it's it's interesting to know perspective and background. And you know, the thing with St. Patrick and the snakes and driving the snakes out of Ireland. There were never snakes in Ireland. This was a completely different thing. But it's interesting to be able to sort fact from fiction and kind of know a little bit more about the factual figures, factual events, and some of the, you know, events and time periods that took place throughout the birth of this particular nation, sort of up into, you know, the modern century. I think that if you wanted to sort out fact from fiction and get an idea of some cool background stuff about Ireland, if it was really a place that intrigued you, you should start with something like this, maybe get something a little more updated. But this, I remember being a very fun read. Really just, I ended up learning a lot from it, really ended up fueling my interest even more in Ireland. The tiny print, I'm not such a big fan of, but otherwise I really like this book, and I like learning a little bit more about, you know, what Ireland is all about, other than just, you know, green beer, shamrock shakes, and the latest rerun of of Leprechaun with Jennifer Aniston and its 4 separate sequels. Before I go here, because this is just going to be a relatively quick video today, and I always say that, and it's a lie, because it ends up being way longer than a relatively quick video, but you get the idea. I want to talk a little bit about some Irish music for today. And I thought about this for a little bit, and of course, the go-to choice, the easy choice would be, oh, you know, Bono, as I mentioned there with the History of Ireland thing, and U2, and their wide history, all their albums they've done, Bono's charity work, stuff, all that stuff. That's too easy. So I thought a little bit more about it, and I went through, and the first name that came to mind that stuck with me that I've been a fan of for several years, and I actually just went to find his album digitally online, because unfortunately his records don't come out over here in the US anymore. And I wanted to talk a little bit about him today, as far as Irish folk music is concerned, with Fionn Regan, with The End of History, which was one of his first full albums, I believe, and the follow-up to that, which was in 2011, 100 Acres of Sycamore. Now, I first ended up hearing about Fionn purely by some sort of accident, through some United States iTunes thing, single of the week or something like that. It was a long time ago, and I remember hearing one of the songs off of this, probably Be Good or Be Gone, or Put a Penny in the Slot, which were the biggest songs from this record. And after that, it was just something that kind of stuck with me as something I'd put on from time to time. And it was just really great, really earnest folk music. You know, great little folk songwriting. Really paints quite a picture, as demonstrated by the gatefold of these little, this 10-inch record here. A couple of 10-inch records in this, actually. I always just really liked how Fionn presented his music, lyrically speaking, even when songs were kind of oddly nonsensical in a good way, like with Hey Rabbit, and just the blending of instrumentation, really not taking it above a particular point of sound, very, very lush, just a great overall sound, and that really only grew as he got into 100 Acres of Sycamore, which kept sort of the same ideas, sort of a darker imagery, but added a lot more strings to the mix, like with 100 Acres of Sycamore, the title track, and just, this was just another great record. This was actually a record I was really lucky to obtain. This was on import, Amazon UK at the time, and it seems that not a lot of vinyl copies of it are around now. I actually just did some research just a little bit before I made this video to see what he was up to these days, and he actually put out another album in 2012, and really simple, like guitar, one microphone, kind of recording these songs as they emerged. Really quick, interesting album, Bunkhouse Volume 1. There's more title to it than that, but that's his latest, and it's really a shame because he had an American recording contract and a deal with Lost Highway Records, known unfortunately for poor dealings with a variety of musicians, and they had poor dealings with Fionn, and they ended up going under a year or two ago. But he ended up moving back over to the UK, and some of his releases don't get to come out here, so you got to do a little bit more digging. But these are really good Irish folk singing, folk song releases right here. Really good folk albums. Highly would recommend those to listen to on your St. Patrick's Day while you're wearing your green and you're reading about your 2004 Irish histories. All very important, very meaningful things to do on this particular March 17th. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Anyway, that's it for me on this little tiny Irish themed video that I wanted to do here today for St. Patrick's Day, to cover some of the fun things that I've always really enjoyed about Irish history, Irish music, and I have actually some vague Irish roots in my family tree, so it's always intrigued me on that level as well. And maybe someday I could actually see Ireland for myself, because just the countryside and the beauty of it has always just really blown me away. Getting a day like today, you kind of shove the stereotypes aside, the fact from the myth, and you get to sit down and enjoy some really cool Irish themed stuff. So I hope you guys appreciate that little thing to start off the week here. Maybe I'll throw in a little bonus song as like an extra silly video to put up as well. Maybe something from the end of history, like maybe Put a Penny in the Slot or Abacus, or maybe something off of 100 Acres of Sycamore as I hit myself in the face with it. That'll give me a revelation. Pay attention for that though. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe. Keep on watching, guys. Keep on supporting what we're doing here as I take the world by storm in 2014. Again, as I say in every video, thank you so much for watching.